Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we are talking about going from having an IVA to thriving. Today I've got with me my beautiful guest, Deborah Dunbar. Deborah, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jackie. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're very welcome. And today we are talking about Deborah's journey from going through difficulties to coming out smiling at the end. Deborah, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone and tell them what you do first of all?
Okay. Right. My name is Deborah Dunbar, and I run a property maintenance business, which basically I started off as a cleaning company, in fact, about 26 years ago. And yeah, I just wanted to work for myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to work for somebody else. So I kind of thought about what it was that I was good at and what I enjoyed doing. And I like to clean. Well, at that point, I did. It's kind of changed
We go
years
on
ago.
journeys, and that's
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
We do. So let's take it from the beginning, Deborah. Let's talk about what were you actually told as a child growing up about money, or what did you experience?
Okay. Growing up with my parents, my mum was probably my biggest influence when it came to money. And she used to say to us, like, don't hang your hat where you can't reach it, which basically means live amongst your means, don't spend more than you earn, that kind of thing,
Mhm.
which was great advice. But um, yeah, did we take it on board? Probably not, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But my mum was a great role model for money
Mhm.
because my mum was always a domestic worker all of her life. But my mum never borrowed any money. She never got into any debt. And I always used to see her budgeting. Every week I'd see her with a piece of paper and a pen, and she'd work out her budget. And she would still save amongst that. And she used to say to us advocately, it's not what you earn, it's what you save.
Mhm.
Yeah. But unfortunately, my mum didn't actually show us how to budget. She never actually sat us down and kind of said, well, this is what you do. You know, if you earn this amount of money, save this amount, that kind of thing. And then live off of that. So we kind of just kind of winged it, as we got older and stuff. So we didn't have the skills, I guess, for knowing how to. Yeah, we were told things, but weren't actually shown.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Very similar to my story. Yeah, yeah. They knew what they were doing, but they just didn't share it.
absolutely.
However, each generation that comes up, right, we do better and we change the
Absolutely.
trajectory of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So why did you decide to start a business in the first place?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, I decided I didn't want to work for somebody.
Right.
Um, And that's another story of my mum again. My mother left to go to Jamaica to live, to immigrate after she retired.
Mhm.
And once she left, that's when I actually started my business because I didn't have the confidence to start it while she was here because my mum used to just think that you're supposed to just work and work hard kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to actually step out and actually do something for yourself and start an actual business, that wouldn't have been my mother.
Mm.
But my dad,
Mhm.
he was self-employed. He ran his own electrical company, which was called Dr. Bird Electricals. And now when I think back, he was an entrepreneur back in the pioneer days for, people who came up with the Windrush generation, which I'm actually really proud of him with because it's not until kind of take it for granted when we were growing up. But now looking back, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had a van with his logo printed on the side and everything. He went to evening classes and he qualified to, being a qualified electrician.
Amazing. Mhm.
Yeah, so he done that. And he used to get me to do the bookkeeping. So he'd get me to sort all his receipts and do his invoices and stuff. And I
How old were
hate
you roughly then? Roughly
teenager,
teenager or
13,
older?
yeah,
Right.
teenager, 13,
Wow.
14, that kind of age. I know I used to hate doing it because my dad wasn't very organized either. So he would just pile all of the stuff up and he'd say, all right, sort those out. And so I would be doing all this book work and I didn't realize that I was actually being prepared to run my own business years later. But I resented it at that time. So yeah, I knew I just wanted to work for myself. I thought about, as I said, what was I good at? what did I like doing? And as I said, I liked to clean because
Mhm.
I like to clean. I don't like mess. And I was
Mhm.
always like that type of person. I thought I'd start a cleaning business. So hence, as I said, when my mum left the country, I literally just printed up some leaflets, put them through doors, and that was how the business started.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. All
Okay,
started
so I
from
know you
then.
said you've started the business 26 years ago. So tell me tell me some of the highs and the lows of that journey of before we got
Um,
to the IVA. How was it going along?
okay, it was progressive, obviously. As I said, I started just doing cleaning initially first.
Mm.
And I've done that for many years. And obviously, it got to the point where I needed to get extra help in and stuff. And I got other people to help me to do the cleans and stuff. And then I started working like with estate agencies and things like that. So I do like end of tenancy cleans and all that kind of thing. And I would still work part time though in
Okay.
the initial beginning. I didn't just stop working. I used to work part time and also run the business. And I done that for many years because obviously I still had I had my children, I had my son. Probably about a year after I actually started the cleaning company.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, and then my sister helped me out a lot
Mm.
because I had a C-section, so I wasn't able to actually physically do any work for a time period. So my sister kind of stepped in and helped me a lot during that period of time. Yeah, and then when I got back up on my feet, I would take my children, well, take my son with me to work sometimes. I just had to do
Thing
what I
we
had
have
to
to
do.
do sometimes as women,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, to make it work. And yeah, as I said, so it started to grow. Then as I said, I started to get other people to help, but staffing can be an issue.
So before we get to the
Um,
staffing, tell me about the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers. Were you keeping an eye on the numbers in the business? Did you know at that point that you had enough money to be able to pay staff? I mean, tell me about that bit, or were you winging it as well?
I was winging it.
Okay.
Again, I didn't have management, like I didn't go to college and do a degree or anything. I was just doing it basically on my own skill set kind of thing. What would come in, I knew I had to pay myself. I knew I had to pay my taxes, and I knew I had to pay whoever helped me,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I done it. I didn't. Again, I would have to do my accounts at the end of each year, and my cousin helped me with that.
Okay.
So yeah, so she helped me a great deal in the initial beginning. She used to do all of my tax returns at the end of the year. Yeah, and then I would be in this mad panic. So January, I knew I had to put my tax returns at the end of the year, and I'd be in this mad panic in the beginning of January trying to get everything.
So
All
you
my
waited until January to
I
do it
did.
rather than doing it
Yes,
April, May. Okay.
yes,
Lots
yes,
of
yes, yes,
people
yes,
do. I
yes.
hear that all the time.
I did. And I just thought, well, okay, my deadline's the end of January, so I don't know. I just had it in my mind. And plus, I guess because I'm on the field as well,
Mm.
um, yeah, to actually stop to kind of think, well, I'm going to be doing bookkeeping beforehand, it just never manifested. I just kind of always left it to the end of the year and then started doing it.
Okay.
So I'd be in this mad rush and panic to get it all completed. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Okay. Interesting.
always met the
So,
deadline, but it was always
yeah,
pressure.
but it's the
Yeah,
pressure to do it because you do it in
absolutely.
January as opposed to earlier on in the year. But I
Yeah.
get that's like I said, I know lots of people who do that. It doesn't
Hmm.
quite work for them either. They're always panicking. So I'm trying to educate people, say, do it in May or
Yeah,
start
yeah, yeah.
in May, right? So you don't have that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me about what you believe led up to an IVA, and can you also explain what an IVA is as well?
Okay. Right. So as the business progressed, I started working with I collaborated with another guy who was a landlord. When I met him, he had three properties.
Mm.
And what he needed from us was someone to do the cleaning fortnightly for the properties. He needed the maintenance work done at the properties. When he got new properties, he needed the refurbs done on the properties. And also, he needed for the properties to be ready for letting.
Right, okay.
But we would do HMO properties. It was all HMO properties.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wanted somebody that was under all the same umbrella
Right.
and could do the work. So I started working with him. And the business grew from, as I said, when I met him, he had 3 properties until he got to 40 properties.
So you were doing the cleaning initially, but now you're taking on the maintenance as well for
Maintenance side.
all of these
That's
properties.
Yeah, that's how we
So
got
huge
into
growth
maintenance.
aspects happening, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Hmm.
yeah. So the business started to grow.
Mm.
It was growing because obviously it was gradual. So every time he'd get a new property, we would refurb it,
Mhm.
dress it, and then we'd do the open evenings for potential tenants to come and view
Okay.
the properties and stuff. Yeah, so we'd do all of that. So it was very busy. As I said, it grew, but it was very, very busy. So it was hands-on. I had to be maintaining 40 properties, 40 different properties,
A
obviously,
lot. Hmm.
yeah, with all the different tenants and all the stuff that goes with it. So it was great. I mean, as I said, it was fine. We were doing that. And then COVID hit.
Okay. Hmm.
So when COVID hit, that was where everything kind of dwindled. So
Mm.
basically, obviously, what he done, he would it was rent to rent properties. So he didn't actually, I think he owned 2 properties, but
Right.
the rest were owned by landlords. So he was managing the properties for them. Um, and then obviously when tenants weren't able to pay their rent, he wasn't able to pay the landlords. So it was all a knock-on effect. So unfortunately, his business went into liquidation.
Right. Which had a massive knock-on effect on you because I'm assuming he was your main customer.
Client,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what I did, I was so focused on his business, I wasn't actually really building mine. I had more clients, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I wasn't focused on building my business. I was more focused on running his, if
That makes
that made sense, because he was my
sense.
main client.
Yeah.
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 So it was kind of like putting all of my eggs really in one basket.
Yes.
And that was my biggest mistake.
Yes.
So when COVID hit, everything stopped. We stopped working. And then obviously the money wasn't coming in.
Yeah.
So obviously I still had bills to pay and life goes on.
Yeah.
So as I said, he went into liquidation. So he completely shut down as well. So that was my main client. My main source of income had gone
Yeah.
and I still had bills to pay. So I wasn't coping basically after a while, because obviously we were locked down for a good period of time. Um, so I thought to myself, well, I can't pay my bills. I had great credit. I had like excellent credit at that point because I'm always a person that pays my bills and pays my bills on time and stuff. But I did have debt.
Mm.
So I think the only way I can think about it, I was an emotional spender. So I would spend money and buy things to make myself feel better. So
Yeah.
I had like credit card debt and stuff. Though I did pay my bills on time, but I did still have debt. I had credit card
But
debt,
you were
and
spending more than you had coming in. Right.
yeah, right.
And because of the
So
emotional state you're in, as you're saying, is that how did you feel
when
when you were doing that, when you were going through that period? Because you clearly have an awareness of what's going on from what I'm picking up. So
well,
you
I do now because I've
so at the time you
at
didn't.
the time I didn't. No, at the time I didn't. And in fact, I tell you what, I realized I had so much clothes. I got rid of my wardrobe and I took all the things out of my wardrobe and I had them on the sofa and I saw this mountain of clothes on my sofa and I looked at it and I thought, something's not right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not right. That's something's wrong here. You're
Mm.
not supposed to have this amount of clothes. Like something wasn't right. I could clearly see that was an emotional issue that was going on there because, like, no, that's
That
not
was a
right.
light bulb moment for you?
Absolutely. 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 So yeah. So as I said, so I needed to pay my bills. I didn't have the money to pay the bills. So I thought to myself, well, okay, how am I going to get myself out of this situation? And at that point, obviously, there was a lot of things that were going around on social media about if you had debt and if you couldn't pay your debt and whatever, whatever. So I kind of started exploring what an IVA was and what it entailed. So basically, it was where they'd write off like 80% of your debt.
Right.
So I had to let them know all the things that I was owing.
What did you know
And
what IVA stands for? Trying to remember what it is.
um, individual voluntary arrangement.
Thank you. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Individual voluntary
voluntary
arrangement.
arrangements. So
Right.
obviously, I guess they probably work it out for each individual person.
Yeah.
So I went to a company and they basically helped me. So they,
Have to pay?
mm?
You have to pay the company?
um, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Did I? Or if I did, it wasn't much.
Okay.
To be honest, I can't remember.
Okay.
If I said I'd be lying, I can't remember exactly. And as I said, if it was, it wasn't much.
Yeah.
So basically, so they collaborated all of my debt, and then they approached all of the people that I owed money to. So
Mm.
I didn't have to do anything; they done it all for me. And then we worked out how much I would pay each month,
Hmm.
which was affordable to me that I could manage to pay. So
Hmm.
that's basically what happened.
Okay, so the IVA, does that have any negative effect on your credit or anything else you do?
It does, yes. So basically, you can't get any credit for 6 years.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So after the 6 years, then I'll be out completely of, I won't be owing anything because, as I said, they write off that part and then I have to pay that bit. So I'll be completely out of debt at the end of the 6 years.
Right. Okay.
But obviously, it goes negatively against your credit score.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But at that point, I thought to myself, well, okay, I might have an excellent credit score at this particular point, but if I can't pay my bills, it's going to have an effect on it anyway.
Yeah.
So I had to weigh up,
Hmm.
and I like peace. When I put my head on my pillow at night, I want to sleep. I don't want money to be a problem to me if there's going to be another way for me to get out of that. So
Mm.
I took the option of taking out the IVA.
Okay. While you was going through the process and they were sorting out your debt for you and everything, how were
Mhm.
you feeling at that particular point? Were you feeling, was it a positive thing that was happening to you, or was it a negative thing? How did you
I
feel
think
at that?
I felt relief in actual fact, because obviously the burden was going. Nobody likes a burden of financial burden on them. And I knew that at that point, I was at a place where I knew I wasn't going to go back there. That was what I knew. I'm kind of a practical person. If a situation is there, I try to deal with it as practically as I can. I don't make it stress me or worry me. I just look for a situation how I can get out of that instead of
And focus.
dwelling in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to live a life where bailiffs are knocking my door and demanding money and stressing me that way. I wasn't going to go through that because
Okay.
there was an alternative.
Yeah.
So I went for the alternative, basically.
Okay. So having the IVA, how's business after coming through that and they've sorted your debts out for you and all the rest of it? How's
Mhm.
business? How did you progress with business from that point? What happened? Did you have to shut the business down or what happened?
No, I didn't shut the business down. I still have the business, and I still work with landlords, and I have landlords that I still look after their properties, not as big as it was before. And to be honest, I don't know if I'd want to go back to that because it was very stressful, and I didn't realize how much I was working, how stressful it was when I was working until COVID came and we stopped. And then I realized I was tired. It was like, wow, I didn't realize I was on this treadmill where I was just going, 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 going. And until things actually stopped, that's when I realized what I was doing and how much I
So you
was
were
actually
forced to
working.
stop. COVID forced you to stop, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And to take stock, obviously, and look at the
Yeah.
way you were doing things.
Absolutely. Then
Okay.
you're able to kind of reassess life really and what's important.
How's business going now?
Business is good.
Okay.
Business is good. I
Mhm.
also work part-time again.
Mhm.
Um, During COVID, I got a part-time job with a company, and I was working with them for probably about 6 months, and I loved it.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that I was missing out on working with people because when you work for yourself, it can be a kind of a lonely life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I didn't realize how much I missed working with people. Although I worked with people, don't get it twisted, I did work with people, but like a whole work environment
Yeah.
and colleagues and stuff, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought, wow, this is like so refreshing. So I worked there for about 6 months and then they closed down where I was working and they was going to merge two companies together.
Mhm.
So they done that. But what they did, they said to me that they didn't need me anymore, but they offered me the cleaning contract for the business that I was working with. So that was a good
Oh,
thing. Yeah. And
so
then
they didn't need you to work for them, but they offered you the contract for your business to basically
yeah,
take on the work. That's
yeah,
amazing, right?
absolutely. Only God.
Yeah,
That's God. That's God. That's God.
100%. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah. So
so after coming through this experience, where are you now? How are you feeling now about business and stuff?
I still feel optimistic about everything. As I said, I don't work for that company anymore, but I work for a school, and
Right?
I love that job. I love it because I work with these children, and they bring life to me every day, and I love working with my colleagues and stuff. So that's a good thing. That's a positive thing, and it's good for my actual whole being. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. You've got the
I
best of
still
both worlds, right? Because you're running a business, which is the extra income, but
yeah,
you're also employed, but you love what you do.
absolutely, absolutely. So I do that part time. I run my business during the day. I also manage property now. Um, I do a lot of different things now. So I don't put all of my eggs in one basket anymore.
Diversifying.
Absolutely. So I try to have multiple streams of income, money coming in from different avenues. I wouldn't go back to having just one stream of income and relying on one source.
You're talking my language.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could talk to yourself, if you could go back and talk to yourself when you started your business,
hmm
what advice would you given to Deborah back then?
So
Coming through everything that you've come through now, what would you say to Deborah back then?
I'd be a lot more organized. Number one,
Mhm.
um, I would
What does that mean, though? Organized
when I
in,
say organize, okay, organize my business, my finances, I'd work on a budget. I
right?
wouldn't be just spending because I had money. I
Yeah.
would be working on a budget. I separate everything now. I separate my bills. I have one account for all of my bills. So, like the job that I do, that pays my main bills that I get each month. So that's in one account. Sometimes, yes, I do have to top it up a bit. To pay my everyday costs like council tax, that kind of stuff. All those bills come out of that account. Then I have obviously my business account, and then I have my personal account, things that I use to do, like example, petrol, buy food, things like that. So I separate all of my money now so that I don't get confused. So I know exactly what I have to spend each month. So I'm able to keep abreast of what comes in and what goes out. And if I want to do anything extra, like example, if I want to go on holiday, then I make extra money to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I've learned so much,
Mm.
even down to my retirement, because obviously I'm going to be retiring soon. Well, not soon, but
No, I hear
I'm
you. We're on that
working towards
trajectory.
that.
We're thinking about
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like even like I went on I go on webinars now, I watch YouTube, I read books. So I went on your community wealth. I mean, you blessed me first with being able to go on your community wealth program.
Thank you.
And you done it for me for free. And that was an absolute blessing because I told you my situation and you wanted to help me. And yeah, I learned so much from, being on your community. And I still love it now because I'm still on it now. And I promote it to everybody. Like I tell all of my women
She
friends and stuff.
does. She's invited people into the membership group, guys. If you don't know, you need to know and you need to come and join us.
Yeah, I do. Because I know it works,
Yeah.
I know it works. And there's no reason for us to be struggling or, treading water, and we don't have to be.
Mhm.
All we just need is a little bit of discipline and a little bit of organization.
Love that. The discipline and the organization, which I
Yeah,
call money management, right? So
absolutely.
having systems and strategies to manage the money. And
Yeah,
so looking back, that's what you would have said to yourself then. You would have said,
absolutely.
being organized with your money so you know
Yeah.
what's happening, what's coming out, and all the rest of it. Okay.
Manage money and not allow money to manage me. That's basically.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
yeah.
So if you had one thing, just before we wrap this up, one thing that you wanted to say to somebody who was facing debt, but burying their head in the sand, not knowing who to go to, where to turn, and they just know that the situation is dire, what's one thing you would say to them?
There's help out there. Don't struggle. Don't worry about something that you can actually find a solution for, because there's a solution to every problem. Everything is figure outable. You
Mm,
don't have to stay there in no worry, no stress, because there are organizations or information out there that you can seek
Mhm.
to get you out of whatever situation that you're in.
Mm. And that's where I agree with you. And I would say education is key, but the right education is key, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can always find the information out there that you need. And like I always say to people, if you're struggling on your own, because not everybody might feel as strong to be able to do it by themselves, but find someone who can help you and just
Yeah.
seek.
There's people out there. There's definitely people out there.
Yeah, brilliant. I remember on our last group, our last meeting, our membership group, and you just had this smile on your face. Do you remember? I remember saying, "How are you doing?" And you were just like, "I'm really good." And it was just,
Yeah.
yeah, you just brightened up the whole group. It was amazing. And obviously I've seen some of your journey. And so for me personally, it's great to see you go from that. And now you're just thriving, girl.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing to see. And I just wanted to say thank you for sharing your journey. I know sometimes people don't always want to talk about the negative things that happen to them. So thank
Hmm.
you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us,
You're
Debbie.
welcome.
Thank you guys for watching. So please remember to hit that notification bell and subscribe, and please share this story. The more people we can help is the better for us all as a community. And I'll see you on the next video.